So it's just setting them off for destruction, especially if they don't, know life yet. You don't know life until you move out your parents' house. You
Let me
live
tell you
life
something. I've
after.
already set the standard. We've had conversations with my daughter, and she is incredibly excited. All the way to the point to where we've decided that we're going to build a bigger house because we've concluded that my daughter is not moving out the house. I don't care how old she is. I don't care if she's 29, 30 years old. She's not moving out the house until she gets married. And she's not going off to college. She's not going to college out of state. She's not going to stay somewhere else. None of that. We've already worked this out as a family. She's already understood this. We've programmed this into her. And until she leaves my covering and be handed over into her husband, she will not leave out of my sight. I am her protector. I am her provider. I am the person that is going to oversee her well-being. I am going to be the person that vet her husband. And until then, she will not leave my sights at all. I don't care how liberal, I don't care how free y'all think y'all are. I am controlling the narrative of what goes on in my family and my household. Nobody else.
And I think that that's amazing, Anton, for you to be there to do that for your daughter. That's a really stand up thing for you to do. Very commendable. But I feel like we have to be realistic. And in today's society, things aren't getting cheaper. They're getting more expensive. So for a woman to not get an education when in her household, she's going to likely have to provide income, I think is just incredibly realistic. It's not possible. So in your situation, you're there to provide the resources for your daughter and it's possible. But in situations where that doesn't happen, the woman—
Why do you have to go off to college to get an education? I'm curious.
You can be educated in the world. You can be educated in the school of hard knocks. You could be educated.
No. Why can't you get educated, college educated, without going off to college?
Elaborate. What do you mean?
You can stay home and get college educated.
Oh, you mean like online?
No, you can go to class the same way that you go to class as a high school student and bring your black ass back home and do your fucking homework.
Okay, that's an option. That's definitely an option. I thought you meant not going to college at all.
No, I don't think that women should go off and stay on a campus and get indoctrinated and get fucked over and be for the streets. There's no reason why you should have an 18-year-old young girl in a completely different state by herself. That's crazy. That is insane. We don't need— I heard on a panel a bunch of men say that you shouldn't even put your own son out on the street. Your son should be able to stay home as long as he possibly can in order to have your covering. But we willing to let our daughters go off to college in a completely different state by herself so that she can have freedom. Freedom to do what? What does she need freedom to do? I'm curious. What does she need freedom to do?
Bust it open.
I'm just curious. What are we teaching her? What freedom does she need to be in a completely different place, uncovered, unprotected, and you can't get to her as a father?
Sexual liberation.
She gonna learn what catfish is going to college.
I'm just curious. And if you really want to financially protect her, then you would give her that covering to be able to stay home so that she stopped. Because, I mean, if y'all really want to deep dive into it, Black women are the most the most enrolled, but they also hold the most student debt. So you solve for multiple different problems at the same time. That way y'all ain't got to sit here and vote for Biden and he holding this over your head and saying, if you want your student loans forgiven, you can come over to daddy. You solve for multiple different problems. You keep the wealth in the household. You protect your daughter. You don't let her get indoctrinated. And then next thing you know, she's some feminist out here running around and she's gay. And then at the same time, you can keep her under your covering and you can continue to vet whoever it is that's around her, and you can give her the game effectively.
He only gonna forgive 10,000.
People don't want that because y'all so busy wanting to push these chicks out here to be free, and then y'all wondering why all of these chicks is for the streets.
I think 20,000 if you make a certain amount. I think, but the max is 10,000, and then 20,000 if you make a certain amount of income. So it's not the whole complete debt. Some people think they ain't gonna wipe 100K out. Nah.
You shouldn't have student loans at all. There's no reason for you to have student loans. It's not necessary.
You said there's no reason to have a student loan?
It's no reason for you to have
why does most people go to college and get student loans then?
Because first of all, they overpay for their education. Secondly, you give them the option as an adult to do what they want to do, and most people overborrow. Secondly, the best way for you to do it is actually go to community college, because if you do your first 2 years and then you're able to mitigate the amount of money that you're going to give over to them just to say that you live on campus, right? You can get your education, and you can probably do a whole semester for less than $1,200-$1,300 when you go into community college first. Then they have programs where you can transfer over to a major university. And then by that time, if you really want the game, if you really want to mine this out, by that time, within 2 years, you should be able to if you're going into the right program, to get the job genuinely in the industry that you want to participate in. What I did was I went into the industry, but I chose an employer. I took less money to choose an employer that actually helped me pay for my education, right? So there's ways to go about doing it. It's just that us as a community, we don't want to have that conversation, because then it limits what we really want to do, which is go out here and fuck on each other. We will sacrifice our future. We will sacrifice our money. We will go into student loan debt. We will do anything we want to do instead of doing the thing that's the best for us, because you have your whole life to go and do whatever you want to do. You're going to have another 50, 60 years to do whatever you want to do. Make the sacrifice. You don't have to push them out at 18. Get them out at 28 or 29. Once they're able to get married and they get some stability and their brain is fully developed. Most women's brain ain't even fully developed until their mid-20s. But we want to push them out there and let them make their own decision on who it is that they can vet a man effectively. That's crazy to me. So we don't use logic when it comes to making a decision that's in our own best interest. So what makes you think we're going to make the best decision that's in our children's best interest?
I was going to say, to go off what Anton said just quickly about college. What I did was I went into a 2-year community college for 1 semester. I determined myself as a non-matriculated student. With that, I had to make sure that I had a good GPA. So with that great GPA that I did actually get, I transferred that into a college I wanted to go to, which was a major college, and they gave me an academic scholarship. So with that, they pay like 90%. I only had 10% I had to pay, which wasn't that much at all. So there are ways, and the Black community, I don't believe, even talks about that. They talk about you going to these major HBCUs, but they don't say, hey, everybody's not going to get a scholarship. Money's not for everybody. It's just for a certain amount of people. But what happens to the ones that don't have money, right? They're going to give you, you have to pay this amount of money in order for you to go to this semester. You have to borrow money from your parents and rack up their debt. That type of stuff is not good for you, for them, or for you long term. So there are ways. It's just that resources are there, but no one's looking for them. So I think just talking to people, asking, oh, wow, do you have student debt? You can ask, like, do you have this? They'll say yes, or they'll say no. The person that says no, ask them, how the hell did they do that? Because majority of us have it. So it's just things that are not even asked. No one's asking. No one cares, because they want to go and have a fun, free, happy life in a traditional college. But you don't even have to do all that. That stuff is kind of overrated anyway.